Hi, it's Conor Svensson here, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs. This is a conversation I had with Raoul Pal at the launch event for my new book, The Blockchain Innovators Handbook, a leader's guide to understanding, adopting and succeeding with this disruptive technology. Raoul Pal is the co-founder and CEO of RealVision and founder of the global macro investor. He was also kind enough to write the foreword for the book. In our conversation, we discuss why blockchain is such an important topic, why he wanted to get involved with this project, and why he believes this is such an important book. It's a short conversation, but I'm sure you'll have plenty of takeaways, including how RealVision themselves are adapting their business to embrace Web3. If you'd like to learn more about the book, do head to web3labs.com/innovators. Hey, Raoul. So, yeah, it's awesome to have you here. First of all, why is it that you're not able to join us here in person tonight?
Well, sadly, we've kind of got a lot of quarantines here in the Cayman Islands. I'm also in Vegas right now as well for the RealVision event there. So we've got some of the biggest speakers in blockchain all at the event. So sadly, not able to make it over, but would have loved to.
And I'd love to go back as well, just like a few months to when I first reached out to you and said, hey, Raoul, I've got this book that I'm working on. Would you be interested in writing a foreword there? Because I was over the moon when you came back with like the positive response there. But what was it that kind of attracted you to it and made you feel, this is a good opportunity for it?
Well, I think that the fact that you're so embedded in the space, you're so knowledgeable in the space, yet when you started showing me your writing, you were showing me the clarity with which you could communicate to people. And I'm a passionate believer in educating people about this disruptive technology. I think it's one of the biggest things we're ever going to see. And so the moment you reached out, I thought this is exactly what I want to get behind to make sure that businesses, business leaders and others get to understand what this really means for them. And you weren't approaching it in the standard way that everybody else was, which was Bitcoin and Ethereum and, buying it for speculation or investment or whatever it was. You were actually looking at the broader concept of, okay, well, what does this mean for business? What does it mean for the economies? How does the world look with this new technology? And that, I think, is a really powerful and important message.
And it's one of those ones that's just constantly changing. I think even since writing the book now, the whole like Metaverse narrative has started to emerge. But
it's almost impossible to stay on top of it. I mean, you nailed the Metaverse. It was already in the book anyway. I mean, that was what I really liked about the book when you gave me the ability to read the full book, is that you had looked really into the future. It wasn't just here's a current state of affairs. It's where we're going. And the Metaverse is this kind of weird concept that people don't want to believe because they think it's like Ready Player One and gaming world, but it's not. It's our digital future. It's when all these digital technologies come together. And, blockchain empowers most of that because it allows the ownership and transfer of assets in a digital world. There can be physical goods too. But, again, it's really important to people know where this is all going because people need to plan. This is a wholesale change of global business models, and they have to plan for the future and understand, okay, what we know today is not what's going to be existing in 5 years' time. And this space is, as you know, moving at lightning speed because as opposed to one company developing a new strategy, this is a distributed network of thousands of developers and entrepreneurs all pushing the boundaries in all the different areas. So it's happening at a speed we've never seen before. I think one of the things I've looked at is the network adoption effects of crypto or the digital asset ecosystem is growing at twice the speed the internet grew at with the same number of users. Back then, the internet was growing at 63% a year back in 1997 with 150 million users. Right now, the digital asset market is growing at 113% a year. It's the fastest adoption of any technology the world has ever seen. And that's partly due to its distributed nature and how many smart people are developing so many things. So yeah, really interesting.
And it's funny that you mentioned that point because, of course, it's one that made into the book. And when I first came across you, it was a few different people in my network had all kind of put out this great graph that you put together, charting the rise of the digital asset space and the internet there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's the single most important chart. You don't need to know anything else almost. Because basically, if you extrapolate the trend, and what I did was lower the trend rate of growth over time because networks slow as they get more saturated, more people onto the network. you still get to 1 billion users by 2024. We can't quite get our heads around that because it feels kind of niche and small, but 1 billion users by 2024 and about 3.5 to 4 billion users by 2030. I mean, that's staggering.
Absolutely. And actually kind of a related metric I learned earlier this week was that, Facebook has I think it's over 2 billion active users on the platform too. So, it kind of reached that scale without people necessarily noticing it as such. Yeah, most people were using it, but I don't think they realized quite how far the penetration has reached. And as you say, crypto and blockchain is going that way.
Yeah. And to that point, Facebook have gone into the metaverse, and they're launching their own stable coin, which is part of the crypto complex. So that's 2 to 3 billion people who have access to crypto rails. And then the central banks have joined in with central bank digital currencies. So it's going to be ubiquitous, faster than anybody can imagine.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the funny thing is right now, it feels like it's actually compounding in terms of all the developments that are happening. A few years ago, you could kind of keep up with everything, it felt like, in some of the main protocols. And now there's just so much happening in terms of 24/7. You just can't follow everything.
Yeah, I mean, even since we started talking, the rise of NFTs as a business model, as a way of coalescing communities, the rise of the metaverse, social tokens, DeFi, it's at a blistering pace. And there's so much business experimentation going on, but with so many people doing it, it's, as I said before, it just keeps moving ahead faster than any of us can keep up with.
And out of interest, just with your company, RealVision, how's it impacting what you guys do as well? Because you have some plans around this too.
Yeah, I think for us is realizing that community is the new business model, and that digital assets play a phenomenal role in creating network effects and coalescing community. So, we're looking at how do we work for this Web 3.0 world, which people will hear more and more about. And that's really where your either your audience, your members, or your customers are all part of your network and share in the success of the network. So, we're looking at launching a RealVision token that gives people a currency for RealVision. In addition, we'll start using NFTs as digital assets that give you memberships or rights or other things. So, and then we're developing ways that we can integrate community into more of what we do. Things like crowdsourced asset management, where they can earn tokens by generating great trade ideas. So then they get paid by all the other members by saying that was a great trade idea. I'm going to trade it and you get paid in tokens. So you create whole economies. I mean, I think these are digital sovereign states. They can be really small or they can be gigantic in the case of Facebook. So yeah, I'm really focused on that. We are having to pivot, much like everybody will. We're slightly ahead of the game, but it's still a big pivot, and everyone has to get their head around the fact that it's not a relationship of firm customer. It's now this symbiotic relationship you have to create, and that only creates more network effect once you get it right. But there's going to be a lot of experimentation. Nobody knows the answers yet.
Yeah, and I think just given where you are in terms of you've really gone far down the rabbit hole there. The fact that you're adapting your business like this is, to me, I'd be saying to people, this is what everyone needs to be doing, and this is what was one of the core messages I think for the book, was wanting people to really adopt that innovator sort of mindset, because it's so important to see the ways in which this transformative change is going to impact every facet of life and business in the coming years.
Yes, and you can see it in the giant brands. People like Starbucks are creating their own token. We can see Adidas, Nike, all the fashion brands all moving towards NFTs. We're seeing a relentless pace. It's going to come out of the media industry. It's going to come out of the fashion industry, the music industry. They're all going to change. And everybody's going to be looking around and thinking, oh my God, what just happened? Much like it happened when the internet turned up. It suddenly changed everything. So that's how big it is. I know it sounds hyperbolic, but it's not.
Absolutely. And hopefully that people anyway will be able to follow the lead. Companies like yours is taking in the space, and we'll find the landscape looks very different in the next few years.
Yeah, and that's why your book is so important to me, is because it's going to help people understand the change that is taking place, to get people onto the front foot and not the back foot. And if you can do that, you're really empowering people. And, hats off to you for writing it, because I know it's not easy to write a book. It's a lot of work.
It certainly helps when you've got certain people on board like yourself with the forward. It's like, we've got to make it happen.
Fantastic. Yeah, you even got Joe Lubin on there.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks so much, Raoul. Much appreciated. And it's been absolute pleasure always seeing your work as well in terms of what you're putting out there. And just really, really grateful for you coming on board with this project.
Yeah, good luck with everything. We're all educators. That's all we're doing here. So I do the same, you do the same. We just do it in different ways. But look, good luck with the book. It's fantastic. It should be a huge success.
Well, thank you.